What's up, everybody? This is Tino again. I just wanted to do a video on downwards fading. So what we're doing right here is a skin fade, but we're doing it the opposite of how you would normally do it or how the textbook would teach you. So what we're doing right now is starting with our highest guard we're going to use. So I used a 2 guard to pick into the bulk around the ridge on his head. And we're keeping everything going vertically to the ceiling while we're picking into that bulk. So we're picking into the bulk, flicking out, and setting our first guideline with the highest guard first versus how you would normally do it by setting the skin line first and then having the highest guard last. So right now, what we're doing is um, going in with our 1.5 guard. So we started with our 2 guard. Now we're down to our 1.5 guard, and we're just making sure when we pick into this, we are not raising up the guideline. So we're making sure that our 1.5 doesn't bleed over into our 2 guideline. So it's the same thing that you would do, but we're just doing it in the opposite order. So we're making sure that our 2 is not bleeding into, that our 1.5 is not bleeding into our 2 guideline after we set the 2 guideline. So you have to know where you want to set your guidelines, and you won't be able to see them as well as you would if you set them by the notching up system. But the reason that you would blend down or do a fade backwards is to avoid having to do as much blending and taking those lines out. So you can save time once you're able to see where your guidelines are without having to physically set them in. So you can know this by the structure of the client's head and your guides. As you can see, we're also working our way down now into our number 1 guard. So as you can see, when we pick into um, the guides that we've set before, we are simultaneously um, setting our next guideline and blending the previous guideline. And we'll do this until we get all the way down to where our skin line would be. So I hope that makes sense. Um, right now, we actually switched over to our trimmers, it looks like, and we're just brushing this out to make sure we don't have any extra little hairs in there that'll make the area look darker um, because then we won't be able to see uh, the fade and won't look as clean. So right now we're doing a little bit of detail work. We are looking in the mirror, making sure we don't have any more dark spots, and then we're gonna switch over to our trimmer to knock any of those out. We got a little guard on the trimmer. I actually like those a lot. My little G Wiz trimmers, and we're kind of working it with and against the grain to make sure that we got everything. That we got any dark spots. Just doing a little bit of detail work. We did one side before the other for the video purposes. Um, so thank you again to our model here for letting us do it this way. Normally we would have knocked this all out in one. We would have set our bottom guideline. Actually, we would have set our skin line first, and then I would normally set my top guideline so I can work in between. But the way we did it works well, just to show you how to go from your highest guide all the way out to your skin line, since it's the opposite. But let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Please give us a follow, like the video if you liked it, and yeah, thank you again.